Good morning. Time for our bird notes. This is Dwight Davis. There are many kinds of birds' nests: woven pouches, delicate cups lined with spider webs, mounds of vegetation on the ground, holes in trees, and many, many other kinds. But there's one bird whose nest is not a nest at all, and that is the fairy tern. Now, I have never seen a fairy tern in the wild. They live in the South Pacific. But I've seen pictures, and it has always struck me, based on photos and brief descriptions alone, that the name of this bird is very appropriate. Some birds' names are not appropriate. The palm warbler, for example. The bird really has nothing to do with palm trees. But the fairy tern has always struck me as, well, from an enchanted realm. First, these birds live in what many would consider paradise, Pacific tropical islands, including Hawaii. Then there is the appearance of the bird itself, bright white with jet black bill and large dark eyes, giving it a wide-eyed, innocent sort of look. Very elegant. Interestingly, beneath the snow-white feathers is shiny black skin, by the way. These birds hover a lot, like some fairies, I suppose, and on those less populated islands they tend to be curious and unafraid and seem friendly toward humans. On some islands in the South Pacific, the fairy tern is considered a sacred bird. There are some who want to call this bird simply the white tern, and while that is accurate, fairy tern is much more appropriate. The aspect of the fairy tern that suggests supernatural intervention to me is egg-laying. The bird does not build a nest. It lays its single egg in trees, on bare branches, in the forks of limbs, or perhaps where separate branches meet to form some sort of flimsy support. And the egg just sits there, on those bare branches, incubated alternately by the parents. It seems a precarious way to reproduce. And yet, believe it or not, the survival rate is about 80% on some of the Hawaiian islands. It can be as low as 30% elsewhere. So it's a magical bird, the fairy tern. If you're ever in the South Pacific, look them up. Or perhaps just look up. They may be hovering buoyantly above your head.